Hi Shumate, in this video we'll be learning how to make this low back circle dress. You can determine the length that you want. It all depends on your preference. You can also determine how low you want the back to be. I didn't want my own so low because I don't really like to expose too much, so you can do as low as you actually want. So this dress is actually a simple one to make. You'll be needing a rope to tie to the back, and this is what mine looks like. I made use of about 2.5 yards of fabric, so depending on the length and your size, you'll be needing less or more. Actually, 2.5 yards gave me the option of a longer length, but I just didn't want something long. So if this looks like what you like to learn, then this video is definitely for you. You need to watch to the very end. My name is Veronica Adams Eze. Welcome to Vera Adams YouTube channel. So here's my fabric, and just like I said, I have 2.5 yards. You can make use of an Ankara fabric, just that you will have a shorter length to work with. That's just the basic difference. The most important part in making a circle dress is the folding. So from where we measured the number of yards, you're going to fold it down to the length area, just as I've done here. I'm going to do it once more so that you can see. So depending on the number of yards that you have, you fold it such that you have like half of a triangle like this. This is the shape that would ensure that it comes out in that flavor. I'll go ahead and measure the length that I have. Because I have 2.5 yards, I will have a longer length. If you are using 2 yards, the length will not be this much. So I think at the end of everything, measuring like this, I had close over 45 inches of length. Yes, so this is more than enough. So working with this type of silk fabric, you have to either pin down because it will just be shaking to be moving. It's not a steady kind of fabric. So looking at the folding, you see that I already adjusted it. I didn't fold completely because I was just looking at it that I don't want to waste the fabric. So now the first thing to do is to mark out the shoulder measurement. So you know that if you start from this top part, you'll not get shoulder measurement. So I came down to where I can get my shoulder measurement plus 1 inch. I'm actually working with a shoulder measurement of 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 give me 8 inches. 8 inches plus 1 give me 9 inches. So that's why I'm marking it right where I have 9 inches. So look at from that 9 inches, measure it to the tip, and you say that I have 13 inches. Make sure that you have the same 13 inches all around, so that this will not give you a deep V. So that I'm going to follow that mark. So I'm going to also mark from the middle until I have that 13 inches, so that then I can connect it. That will signify the shoulder line. I hope you understand this. So after this is done, I'll go ahead, because this kind of dress has a casing at the top where you pass the rope. I'm going to mark 1 inch upwards. Make sure that you mark 1 inch upward for the casing. Depending on the size of rope you want to, if you prefer bigger rope, you can do 1.5 inches. But right here, I did 1 inch. I'm sorry this chalk is not as visible as I would have wanted it to be, but I'm trying to make it a bit more visible. So going on, from that initial shoulder line, you can go ahead to mark. If you want something as displayed on the screen like this, you want to stay directly on your neck region, then you can go ahead to start measuring from that initial shoulder line. But because I wanted to drop a bit on I don't want to stay directly on my neck, so I'll be placing my tape on that shoulder line 2.5 inches. That is how low I want it to drop, and from that point I'll go ahead to measure the length. So here I measured the length of 41 inches, but so that we'll have everything equal, I'll go back to the top to this side and still place my tape on that 2.5 inches right on that shoulder line, and I'll go ahead to measure 41 inches. Note that where I am measuring from, I'm not starting from that casing measurement. I'm starting from the actual shoulder length. So I'll also take this back. You can see that I was actually struggling with this fabric, but if you're working with an Ankara fabric, you don't really have to go through this much stress. Anyways, it was worth it though. So if you can see, because of the number of years that I have, I can do as much as length 47. That means if I wanted something very long, I would be able to achieve that. In order to ensure that I have equal length on all sides, I'm still going up to place my tape at 2.5 inches, then still go ahead to mark 41 inches for length. Eventually, while I was sewing, I reduced the length by 2 inches. That means I worked with length 39 inches. So if the length of the dress at the beginning of this video is fine with you, then you can actually make use of 39 inches. Of course, I'm a bit tall, so for someone that is not as tall as I am, it will be a bit longer. So depending on the height that you're working with, kindly note that the 39 inches is inclusive of the hemming allowance for the bottom of this dress. Next thing is to determine how low you want this dress to be. So I'm going to go ahead to mark right from that starting point where we have our shoulder measurement. I'm going to place 2.5 inches still at that point. Then I'm going to go ahead to measure from there downwards 12 inches. That's what I want to use for how low I want it to be at the back. 12 inches is actually my under bust measurement. So depending on whatever you want, make a mark there. If you don't mind exposing too much, you can do your waistline. That's, for me, my shoulder to waistline is 16 inches, so I could have done it at that point, but I didn't want to expose. So some people can go as low as their lower waist. So it all depends on your preference. So I'm going ahead to cut what I've already marked out. You can see that I'm taking my time because because of the nature of the fabric. So I'll go ahead and cut it also at the bottom. You can see the choke. I'm sure the choke is more visible right now. So now that we are done with the cutting of this front piece, I'll go ahead and make a notch at that 12 inches that I marked on it. This will serve as the guide for when we're cutting out the back piece. Finally, we can go ahead to cut out this upper part. Now that this is done, I'll go ahead and bring in the remnant of the fabric so that we can use it to cut out the back piece. Just the same way that we folded to cut the front piece, we're going to fold that same way to cut out this back piece. After folding, I went ahead to place the front piece on it, and then I'll pin down to secure it properly, and I'll go ahead to cut it out exactly. So right here I have the back piece that I cut out using the front piece. The only difference between this front and the back is that I extended the back by 3 inches at the center. I will show you what I mean by this. So this is it. You can see that the center back is extended by 3 inches, yes, but the side is the same. This is actually optional. You don't have to do this. I just wanted to make it a bit different from the usual. So if you don't want this, you can just go ahead to cut it out exactly same. So after this is done, I went ahead to that part where I notched, that's 12 inches on the front. I went ahead to fold it in, just as you're seeing me doing here. And right at that 12 inches, that means that's how low I want the back to be. So I'm going to fold the front just as you're seeing, and I'm measuring that I have 12 inches on the side. I'm making a mark there to signify that 12 inches at the back. And right at this point, I can go ahead to connect these points together, and I'll go ahead to cut it out. Note that I came up by 1 inch from where we have that notch on the front. This will serve as the casing for the back. Opening this part up, I discovered that the center was a lot deeper. So to avoid this, make sure that you have the same measurements all across. I didn't do that before cutting out. I'll just come up by about 1.5 inches at the center, connect to the side. It would make sure that you don't have something very deep. Now that we're done cutting, the first thing to do is to create a casing. Go ahead and hem the upper part of the back. We're starting with the back. After that is done, this is the front piece. You see that the front piece is not as deep as the back. That was because we measured everything like from one side to the other same. So make sure that you do this to avoid a deep back. But if you don't mind having a deep back, then it's fine. So at this point, I've already gone ahead to hem the upper part of the back piece, and this is what it looks like. You can see So next thing to do is to go ahead to bring in an elastic. I'm going to be using half of an inch elastic here, and I'm working with, remember that we started this low back at the under bust. The under bust measurement I'm working with here is 28 inches. 28 inches divided by 2 gives us 14 inches. So I went ahead to deduct 5 inches from 14 inches so that this elastic will be firm at the back. So I'm going ahead to pass this elastic in with the aid of the safety pin. Make sure that you do not get carried away and the elastic will just go in at that point. I actually made that mistake. So once you see that you're already close to the edge, you can see it right here, go ahead and pin it down before continuing with the passing of the elastic. So at this point I was done. I'll go ahead and take this, first pin it down so to avoid it going back inside, then take it to the sewing machine to stitch it down on the side. You can as well adjust the elasticity of this part depending on how free or how firm you want it to be. So I'm bringing in the front piece and I'm showing you that 12 inches that we notch. So right at that 12 inches that we notch, go ahead and just place it right on it, let it connect. So that's the point of connection between the front and the back. So go ahead and start pinning down. I'll go ahead to pin down from that part till I get to the bottom, and I'll also do the same for the other side as well. Now I can go ahead to run a stitch of half an inch on both sides. I'll bring it back to show us what it looks like after I was done. So now that we have it right here, the next thing to do is to hem the side of the front. So you have to go down from the back. You start with the back, come down by 1 inch from the back, just as I'm illustrating here, and go ahead and fold it in from the back using the same allowance. That's the joining allowance. So you start 1 inch away from the back, then you proceed till you get to the top part. You also repeat the same process for the other side. After this is done, you can go ahead to create the space for the casing for the upper part of the front piece. Remember that we left 1 inch for it, so go ahead and create that casing for it, just as I'm illustrating right here. So now here we have it. I've gone ahead to hem the side, and this is what it looks like. You can see it all neat. Yes, and for the other side as well, I did the same thing. And for the upper part of this dress, that's the front piece, you can see I also went ahead to hem the bottom of this dress. So now the next thing to do is to bring in rope. I went ahead to create rope. Since we already have the channel for this, I made 2 different types of rope. I made one about ½ inch and the other one close to 1 inch. So depending on, you can make your rope as tiny as you want, but of course you know that whatever, if you want it wider, you have to make the casing allowance wider. Do you understand? So if you want a rope of about 2 inches, this means that your casing allowance must not be less than 2.5 inches. At this point, I was done passing the rope into this channel that we made. I want to say a big thank you to my returning subscribers. I really appreciate you. And if you're new here, if this is your first time here, do well to subscribe to this channel. Leave a word of encouragement in the comment section if you found this video useful, and do well to give it a thumbs up by clicking on the like button. And if you have any question, do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section. I'll be there to respond to you. You can see how beautiful this dress is looking. It was worth the stress, right? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.